What's up, YouTube? It's your boy Wack, man. What's going on? Fish Friday checking in, you know what I mean? Up here in Washington, you know what I'm saying? Pacific Northwest, weather's kind of gray skies, you know what I'm saying? So I think the heat wave is gone, if you want to call it that. Um, but I wanted to drop a little nugget for y'all today, you know what I'm saying? Um, excuse me. I've been trying to, excuse me. I've been wanting to start making more content, you know what I'm saying, and dropping it. Um, but I'm probably the biggest procrastinator y'all know, so excuse my imperfections and my fibs that I tell about coming out with another video. But anyways, um, so I was sitting here and I was thinking about something, and I started thinking about uh, when people flood their cells and then end up flooding the tears. And there's kind of like an art to it, you know what I'm saying? It's an art form, and uh, it also has to do with the placement of your cell. Now, I don't know if they've shown it like on MSNBC Lockup or National Geographic or whatever uh, when people flood their cells. But you can get that motherfucker if you're positioned in the right. If you're in the right cell, and you know how to, and you and your cellie know how to do it right. You could have that motherfucker like the Niagara Falls. I'm talking about water just going over the lip of the tier and over where the stairs are at. You know what I'm saying? I've even gotten it to where I've gotten both stairs, meaning the stairs in the C section corner, which would be over there by like cell 248, 249, and also the B section stairs, which would be over there by like what is that, like 234, 233, something like that, in the corner over there. I've actually had, you know what I'm saying, to where both were like the Niagara Fall water was just pouring down them, you know what I mean? Um, but like I said, it has to do a lot with, you know, the placement of where you're at, where your cell is, and also how much water you retain in your cell before you unplug the door. So basically, what you do is, you know what I'm saying, and I'm not giving up no game here, y'all. I mean, this is common sense. Basically, you plug your door and you stick a cup or whatever into the toilet, and then you just keep flushing. Now, keep in mind, them toilets in the pen ain't your regular toilet that you have at your house that you sit on every morning and pray to the white porcelain gods. I mean, these are the Super Flusher 5000s, where you can literally flush a state blanket down that motherfucker and then it'll flush. So, it takes a little bit of work, you know what I mean? But yeah, so you keep flushing and flushing and flushing and flushing and flushing. And hopefully, you know what I'm saying, you got a couple of the homies that's on that tier with you, you know what I mean, that's down with it, you know what I mean? Uh, One of the side benefits of doing it, you know what I'm saying, is if it's on a hot August day, down there in the middle in the desert in Lancaster and Calipat or Centinela, or out there at Ironwood in the middle of the motherfucking desert where it's 120 degrees and the walls are sweating. Well, hell, you done made you a motherfucking pool. But anyways, you know what I'm saying. So you flush that, so you keep flushing that thing, and that water levels rise and it rise and it rise and it rise and you know what I'm saying. Man, we've got it up to down there, you know, to the tray slot for sure. You know what I mean? And then you just, you know what I'm saying, and you coordinate with your people. But of course, uh, of course, it's, you have to be cordial, more than cordial. You have to think of the other races on the tier as well in the building, on that side of the building. So you kind of like uh, send like a little missive out to everybody. You know what I'm saying? And man, let them know that you're gonna be, you know, recreating Niagara Falls, so they can cover their door or whatever, so the shit don't go up under their door. Um, but it, but a lot of times, like I said, you get your people, your people do it with you, and you can have that whole day room flooded, and the police are mad as a motherfucker. Cause look, them dudes are, like I said, man, them dudes are high pay. Them dudes are well paid babysitters. That's all they are. I mean, them dudes literally sit around all day and watch people, and that's what they do for a living. I'm not knocking it. I'm just stating facts. Them dudes are overpaid babysitters, man. So when you flood the tier in the day room, then they got to get the squeegees out, especially like in ad seg. You get the they got to get the squeegees out in the buckets, the mop buckets, and then the big old industrial fans and all that. So it turns their 8 hours of doing the minimal amount of work to being on their being on their feet for that whole 8 hour shift, and who knows, that might turn into cell extractions or whatever happens after after you flood, because what happens when you flood is they'll kind of try to pinpoint what cells were doing it, and they'll go into the chase next to the cell and they'll cut the water off. But if they can't, what they'll do is they'll just shut off that whole section's water, and then that in itself causes more problems. That causes problems for them. You know what I'm saying? So say if you know two Crip cells do it, you know what I'm saying, right? But you let everybody know, you know what I'm saying? Hey, I'm finna flood this motherfucker. Y'all might want to block y'all door. Oh, okay, all right, homie. Hey, can you give me about 10 minutes, homie, so I can fill up my you know, fill up my containers of water and shit. Like a lot of times on the, you know what I'm saying, on the main line, motherfuckers will do that, where it's like, you know what I mean, you want lockdown or whatever, and they, you know what I'm saying, like, like you don't really, and when I say mainline, I don't mean like mainline on the main. Well, when I say mainline, I'm talking about GP and ad seg. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're not gonna do too much flooding on the main line, meaning on the yard. You know what I'm saying? Where you got your TV. I mean, there's too much shit in the cell. You don't need to do all that. You know what I mean? All that shit is, these tactics that I'm talking about are for ad seg. You know what I'm saying? Where you lost everything. You know what I'm saying? You're at the bottom of the barrel. Uh, you ain't got a pot to piss in or a window to throw it out. So basically, it's like, fuck the world. You know what I mean? I'm about to do this, but let's just say, for instance, you know what I'm saying? Like, two or three Crip cells are gonna do it. So fuck it. You know what I mean? The Southsiders might be like, hey, can you give us like 20 minutes so we can get ready? Because they're gonna block off their doors. They're gonna, get enough water for their soups. You know what I mean? Because chances are, uh, the police ain't gonna find out uh, what cell it was, uh, but they'll be able to, they'll know what section it's coming from. So what they're gonna do is they're probably gonna cut the water off to that section, meaning Southsiders waters, the Woods water, the Blacks water. You know what I'm saying? And the Blacks are the Bloods, the Crips, the Bay Area, the non-affiliates, the others and all that, right? So So when the police come and they do that, and they cut off everybody's water in that section, that motherfucker start to, you know what I mean? Then motherfuckers start tripping. You know what I mean? Then you get the white boys, and I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm just using them as an example. Is one of them will get it, get it to CO at one of the CO at the sergeant or something. Hey, Sarge, let me holler at you. Cell 145. Sergeant will come over there, right? He's pissed off, you know what I mean? Because he's the ad sec sergeant of that building. And so instead of sitting in his fucking office all day playing pocket pool, you know what I'm saying? Now he's out there with a squeegee in his hand, fucking sweating like a motherfucker, you know what I mean? Cleaning up this mess. So he goes over there and the Wood gets at him and the Wood says, hey man, why you cut our fucking water off? That shit ain't got nothing to do with us. And then the sergeant, you know what I mean, he kind of like looks at him like, well, we don't know who did it. How do we know? The Wood's not going to say anything. I hope not. You know what I'm saying? He's not going to be like, well, it was Wack and his celly in 244. You know what I mean? I'm hoping they're not going to do that. You know what I mean? Uh, so basically, so the sergeant's like, well, I'm not going to be cleaning this shit up all night. I go home in 2 hours. You know what I mean? So the water's going to stay off until the shit gets cleaned up and we figure out who did it. So that pisses the Woods off, right? You know what I'm saying? Then eventually the Southsiders are going to say something. Like, hey man, the water's been off since before uh, before third watch came on. You know what I mean? And the motherfucker's still off. You know what I mean? We're trying to bird bath and shit. We just came in from, you know what I mean, the yard and shit or whatever. You know what I'm saying? They ain't gonna like it. So now that doesn't turn. So this one little incident, right, of us flooding this motherfucker, now it done got the whole building involved, right? And so then you'll see the motherfucking police start scrambling. And what you do, like in ad seg, what I do, you know what I'm saying? I learned this a long time ago. Is that it's real easy to figure out who's who in ad seg, police wise and inmate wise. And what I mean by who's who is like how much pool they have, their rank and status. Of course, you can tell a CO by his, if he's got bars or if he's got, the chevron or, whatever, you know what I'm saying? Okay, that's a sergeant or that's a lieutenant or, oh shit, there's the captain. You very rarely see a captain. The only time you see a captain is a fucking ICC. Uh, Other than that, they really don't come up in there. But anyways, and then as far as like inmates, like you can tell, like, uh, and I'm not, you know what I'm saying, and I say this, I don't mean it, disrespectfully, you know what I'm saying, but I mean, if you take it disrespectfully, then that's on you, you know what I mean? Anybody that knows that's been watching this channel, you know what I'm saying, I don't have a bone to pick with nobody, you know what I mean, unless you got a bone to pick with me, you know what I mean, if it's fuck me, then it's fuck you, but, I say all that to say that, you can tell who the, who is the powerful one amongst like the Southsiders or the Woods, because a lot of times they'll be the ones talking to the police. You know what I mean? The police, every time something happens, the police at their door. The police go and talk to them. You know what I mean? Run it by them or whatever the case may be. You know what I'm saying? As I've told everybody on here that knows, you know what I'm saying, the blacks ain't got no shot callers. We ain't got no delegated officials, you know what I'm saying? Like, oh, he's got the keys to the yard or this and that, man. We don't do that, man. We don't play none of that shit. You know what I mean? So, I mean, if a police get into it with a dude from a 415 cat from the Bay, you know what I'm saying, he's definitely not going to be on no Crips door. You know what I mean? Because basically it ain't none of our business. It is our business because it's a black, but at the same time, it's like you need to be over there with with his people, you know. But yeah, so uh, the flooding of the cells that can lead to a lot of different shit. You know what I'm saying? Um, so, anyways, so I was at Donovan this last time on my violation, and we came. I don't remember if I had yard that day, and it just came back in from yard. Anyways, it don't matter. Oh no! I take that back. I take that back. I came back from medical because I had a staph infection on my ass cheek. No lie, literally. Like they had to. That's a funny side story. I'm about to tell that. I got to get the homie on here to tell that story though. This shit's hilarious. My Damu homeboy, that's my brother, man. It's my brother from another mother, man. Straight up. But anyways, yeah, I had got this staph infection on my ass cheek. Well, not so much my ass cheek, but like right under my ass cheek on the back of my thigh, and that motherfucker hurt. I'm talking about, oh, that shit was, I mean, just, that shit was painful. I almost want to cry sitting here thinking about it. But anyways, so I had to go to medical and shit, and what they did was they had lanced it, got all the pus and shit out of there, got the infection out of there. And I guess when they popped it, the hole was so big, right? Uh, that they had to pack it with gauze and shit like that, or else there would have been a hole the size of a dime back there. So they had to pack it with gauze and shit like that. Uh, so I wouldn't have a fucking gaping hole on the back of my fucking leg on my ass cheek, right? Uh, so I came back from medical that morning, and I want to say that was like, yeah, I think that was probably like my last little medical visit and shit for that. Anyways, I remember, you know what I'm saying, and so I had been. This was probably like uh, November of 2005, somewhere around there. You know what I mean? I was on my violation. And I have been, like I said, you guys, if you guys follow my story, you know that when I came back on my violation, as soon as I got to Donovan, I was in the little holding tank talking to the big homie Wilbo, and me and him were talking about we were going to sell up. And then next thing you know, IGI came and snatched me and put me in a cage and was like, nah, you going to the box. Hold up, man. I ain't going to the motherfucker. I didn't parole from the box. You got me fucked up. Meaning that if you parole from the hole, you have to go back to the hole. But anyways, so I've been in the hole like 2 months. By this time, you know what I'm saying, you're getting escorted to and from the yard. You're getting escorted to and from the showers. You're getting escorted to and from ICC, medical, whatever. You know what I'm saying? So by this time, you've kind of built kind of like a rapport with the building officers of that ad seg. And that building, building 6, I want to say it was. Building 6 or 7. I think it was, no, 7. Yeah. Building 7. I mean, and there was some cool, you know what I mean? There was some decent COs up in there, man. Motherfuckers that weren't trying to like push, that hardcore, you know what I'm saying? Like gangster shit, you know what I mean? Weren't trying to be all involved with the fucking uh, politics and shit. Motherfuckers talking that shit, this, that, and the other. They weren't trying to be a part of that shit. You know what I'm saying? They were just doing them. You know what I mean? Do their aid and skate. But anyways, uh, there was this brother cop. It was a Mexican and a brother, two polices, and they were, you know what I'm saying, kind of young and shit. Probably at that time I was like 20, 27, I think, 26, 27. Yeah, I mean they were probably around the same age. You know what I mean? Maybe a little bit older, and you know. Um, and this was right around the time that Paul Wall had kind of blew up, you know what I mean, with that song Still Tipping on Paul Paul. Mike Jones, you know what I'm saying? And so one day, you know what I mean, I was getting escorted back to myself from yard and shit, and I was talking to him, and they were like, "Hey, man, you're like Paul Wall without the gold teeth, but you the real deal." And I was laughing and shit, and so ever since then we'd be cool. I'd ask him like, "Hey, man, what's up with football?" You know what I'm saying? And that's what I mostly talked to him about was like football and shit. See how the Chargers and shit were doing. And anyways, so so when they would see me, they'd be like Paul Wall, and I'd call the other dude, the black dude. I used to call him Day Day from Friday, right? And no. I take that back. I take that back. Cause his last name was Craig. I used to be like, "Hey, top flight security of the world, Craig." You know what I mean? And so we were cool like that. Well, anyways, the brother escorting me back and shit. We chopping it up and shit. You know what I'm saying? And whatever. You know what I mean? We get back to the cell and shit. He uncuffs me. And he like, "All right, man, holla at you." And bam, he goes down the tier. And I want to say like the white boys were coming in from yard, or they might have been going out to yard. But I want to say that I want to say that I want to say that they were coming in. And there was this other short Mexican cop, man, little fucking short shit, little fucking buster. You know what I mean? Straight punk. I mean, you know what I mean? Always had a chip on his shoulder, hair slicked back. You could tell with the dark sunglasses. You could tell he wanted to be he wanted to be an essay so bad. You know what I'm saying? And just the way he used to holler at people, bro, just you could tell. Now I had never gotten into it with him like that because I had already at that time, you know what I mean. I had 7 years in the system, so I kind of like knew how to avoid pitfalls when I seen him. You know what I'm saying? And he was just that type of cop where you knew, look, if you get at this dude, uh, if you give him any reason to fuck you over, he gonna do it. If you open yourself up to playing around and joking with that dude, you're setting yourself up. So when he used to escort me to the showers or to the yard or whatever, I wouldn't say nothing to him. I would keep my mouth closed. Now, if he said something to me, I would respond cordially. But I made it a point of not to fuck with that dude. You know what I'm saying? Because I already seen what kind of dude he was. Well, anyways, on this day, he ended up getting into it with the white boy at the other end of the tier, right? And basically, what I heard was this: "Man, you's a bitch, motherfucker." Now, the CO says, "You're a punk ass bitch, and I'll fuck you up." The white boy was like, "Yeah, you sound real tough, behind this motherfucking door. CO was like, that's not a problem. That can be fixed, and you could be out here on this tier. The white boy was like, well, what are you waiting on? On everything I love, bro. That little punk ass CO raised his hand and was like, can you tower pop 218? Now, keep in mind, when you're in ad seg, them doors ain't supposed to be open unless you handcuffed. Keep in mind, every time you're escorted, there's always 2 police. So, this motherfucker get the door popped. And it went down. As soon as the white boy came out, him and his celly, they were on the 2 police. The one cop, not the little short punk, but the other one, I mean, he was just, you could tell he didn't want it. He didn't want no parts of it, but he had to be a part of it because, for one, every man gonna defend himself. And 2, that's his partner. Whether his partner was right or wrong, you know what I mean, that's still his partner. The one big, tall, skinny white boy, the one that was going back and forth with the punk-ass police, this motherfucker was throwing bangers. And he was beating the shit out of that Mexican cop. Building alarm goes off. Police running up in there. I mean, shit just was going crazy. Motherfucking pepper spray, block gun, hitting these dudes with their batons. Just, you know what I'm saying? And they were getting it cracked. I'm talking about 2 dudes. I'm talking about that cell. 2 dudes ended up, you know what I mean? They getting into it with 20 plus COs, bro. You know what I'm saying? And still getting it cracking. So, bam. They finally get them, cuff them up, hog tie them, take them out of the building. Next thing I know, well, this is like later on. I don't know how long afterwards, but some time had passed and shit. And next thing you know, excuse me on the tier, woodpile, skinhead, comrade, board up. I'm like, oh. Now me and the homie on the cell, on the dog, nigga, we looking out the day room, out the door, looking out the window and shit to see all these motherfuckers. Next thing you know, you see all the white boy cells, nigga, they boarding up. It was about to go down, y'all. But I'll tell you the story of what happened in part 2. Hey, do me a favor, subscribe, hit the thumbs up if you like it, leave a comment if you like the content, and I appreciate y'all for y'all support. But I'll be coming back at you with that video, part 2 of what happens when the woods boarded up. You know what I'm saying?